Just because every bank rejected my loan application, I came up with a crazy idea. If I could buy this office building that housed 7 banks, then those banks would become my tenants, and they would never dare reject my loan again. So every night I came to this building. By counting how many lights were on, I could accurately calculate its real occupancy rate. Then I combined that with other data I gathered, and calculated the building's annual rental income. Finally, I figured out its actual value. Next, I found a black real estate investor named George, and told him my whole acquisition plan. George was completely stunned, because that was the most expensive building in Los Angeles. And more importantly, the owner was a white man. And in America in 1950, it was impossible for a black man to buy property from a white man. But Charlie didn't argue right away. Instead, he explained my reason for buying it. There were 7 major banks inside the building. Buying it would make getting loans incredibly easy. And more importantly, through investigation, I found that although the building was in a prime location, a huge number of offices were still vacant. At the same time, I also learned that the owner was raising a massive amount of money to invest in a brand new project, and this loss-making building was the burden he was desperate to unload. George was shocked after hearing this, and he finally realized my plan was actually feasible. But there was still one major obstacle, because we were black. If we showed up ourselves, the owner would reject us instantly. So we needed a trustworthy white man, and Charlie had already picked the perfect candidate. It was Matthew, the guy who had been renovating my house recently. Even though he was just a regular construction worker, he had big ambitions, and most importantly, he didn't discriminate against black people. But when he heard our acquisition plan, Matthew was instantly bewildered.
I don't know anything about banking. I don't know how to buy a bank.
We're not actually buying a bank. We're buying a building that the banks are in. The banks are tenants.
Right.
You just be the face of our partnership.
You think I'm, qualified for this?
Teach you everything you need to know.
The next day, Charlie and I began fully training Matthew. We didn't just teach him financial knowledge. We personally taught him how to present himself. From playing golf to dining etiquette, we trained him carefully. After 3 months of training, Matthew still couldn't master everything, but his memory was incredible. He memorized every complex term and math formula. Then we created a flawless identity for him. A young oil tycoon from Texas who inherited a huge fortune. This identity was perfect and extremely convincing. When it was time to talk to the owner, Matthew impressed him with a beautiful golf swing. And just like that, he secured a chance to negotiate. And I had already calculated all the data that might come up, and made sure Matthew memorized every number perfectly. So at the negotiation table, no matter how the owner raised the price, Matthew always responded with numbers accurate to the decimal. And that shocked the owner. And in the end, the building, originally priced at $2.4 million, was bought by us for only $1.56 million. After successfully buying the building, I figured out the real reason it wasn't making money. The building was located in a prime area, but the previous owner only rented offices to prestigious white-owned companies. Yet big companies usually had their own headquarters, so demand for the building was low. So I immediately shifted the target to successful African Americans, like doctors, lawyers, and accountants. This group had a